What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to be doing the disassembly and maintenance of my Miguron Velona. Let's get into it. So, real simple mod today. We're going to be taking the knife apart. I have my NAF's burrito tool roll out here that has everything that I'm going to need, I think, for this disassembly. I say that and we may come across something a little bit funny, but I do like this because it does help me keep everything organized. I have oil, tools, bits, and if I need it, thread locker. And not that I think I'll need it for this, but I do have a little titanium bar here. This one is the Wii that I anodized myself, just in case I have some issues taking things apart. Now I'm going to move this off screen so I have space over here to work, but I'll go through the tools and everything that I need, or that you will need, to disassemble your Velona. So you'll need a bit driver. You can get the Weeha stubby bit driver. That's linked down in the description off of Amazon. Really affordable tool. These are from Griffin. I like these because they have the bearing in the back and it has the chunky tip. I used to use the Scout tool driver a lot, and I still have that in the house if I want to do something in between videos. I like that one, but it's a little bit more narrow, so I have found that I like the thicker version of this, and it's really tacky even though this one is micarta, but they have a bunch of different variants. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the tools. This is just a generic applicator that I picked up on Amazon. I'm going to be linking this down in the video description going forward. I wanted to try it a little bit first to make sure that I like it, but I just put my own lube in there, and I like the pin shape size because it goes in the burrito roll really nicely. Now, as far as your bits, I recommend Weeha bits. I have the Weeha bits both in here, and in case I need it, I have the Lever Gear bit vault. This has also, I almost opened it upside down. This has 10s, 8s, and 6s in case I needed it, like if it wasn't a captive pivot. I always keep that on hand just in case, but you usually don't need that. And then the last thing that I keep, don't have any issues so far with the pivot backing out, but I do have some thread locker. I like the paste type, but warning, with the paste type, you do want to wait 48 hours for it to dry out versus the liquid, which I think only requires like 12 hours or something like that. So I believe it's T8s and T6 in the pivot, T8 in the pivot, T6 hardware. So I'm going to grab the, I think these are T10s. These are my T8s in the middle. Sorry, I had to think for a second because depending on what I'm grabbing determines what I have. So let's see here. Yep, so that is a T8. I also have this mat linked in the description down below. I like it, even though you can't really see it. It has little magnetic pockets up here for your steel hardware, and it has lots of little organizers and things of that nature for your hardware, your bits, whatever it is that you're using. Like right now, my tools are sitting like this up here in a pocket for me to grab. Just nice to help keep things organized. So let's see here. I do think the pocket clip does not look like it is. Oh, it is T8 throughout. I am sorry. I don't know why, but to me it looked like it was T6. What I was going to say is it doesn't look like the pocket clip needs to come out. You can take it off if you feel it's in the way or if you're scared you're going to scratch it. But for me, I'm just leaving it in. Not too worried about it. We're going to remove all of the hardware. I like to come in from the lock bar side. I just find it's really easy to disassemble and reassemble it that way. So, is that a titanium pivot collar? It is a titanium pivot collar. So this is just something else that really impresses me with Miguron's budget line. I know it's not a big deal, but the fact that it comes with the titanium pivot collar, and I think that's a, hold on, let me grab my magnet here. Okay, no. Let me see. Okay, no. It's just the magnets are so subtle in the silicone mat, I couldn't really tell, but irregardless, the build quality on these are really good. The magnets are very subtle in those pockets, so it is a little hard for me to tell at times. All right, so it should just come apart now. Yeah, see, so the, oh, this screw is not all the way out. Hold on one second. I thought it was all the way. It is not. There we go. So you don't need to remove the pocket clip to disassemble this. One thing that I forgot to grab is my skiff tool. For those out there that might be interested in skiffs for the Velona, I mean, they're like 14 bucks, but still you get a bunch of balls, multi-row bearings, which is really, really nice. So let's go ahead and finish taking this apart. Got to be really careful there with that blade's edge. It should be, it's way up here, 5mm. And it should be, yeah, 5mm, 1/16 ball. Still pretty common amongst the Chinese knives, but you're starting to see more 5mm 3/64, and I think it has like 19 balls or something. Like, it has more balls on it, so it's thinner, but it's riding on more balls, so it feels even more glassy smooth. For me, this budget knife, I like it a lot, but the bearings on it are so nice and the action on it is so good, I can't really justify upgrading to the skiffs. I know I throw it on a lot of knives, but I really try to limit that because it does get a little expensive, and you know, I'm not a big channel, so there's not a lot of money coming in. Just to give you a quick look, so you can see it has the track on both the blade and, well, both the blade, but the blade pivot and along the blade's detent ball track where it is breaking in nicely. I've noticed a difference from when I first got it because it's coated to where it is now, really smoothed out. And then the lock bar is hitting right there at about 30 to 40%. I'm just going to clean that, and I always clean the lock bar off itself too, just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. Let me move the stop pin out of the way. That feels bone dry, which is fine, no big deal there. And let me flip it over to the lock bar. Going to go ahead and clean that up as well. So you can see the track is worn in here as well nicely, and the reason you see a little bit of dirt there is usually because any of the coating that's on there is coming off. I am, while I have it apart, just going to increase the tension a little bit on the lock bar. I think I'd like it to be just a little bit stronger. I'm not going to do too much, but just enough to try to increase the strength some. I think it'll really improve the action, which is already really good, to be honest with you. Now, the ball, as you can see, the closed side was facing the blade, so keep track of that. You're going to want to install it the same way. I always like that anyway, because I feel like the dirt and grime is going to have a harder time getting through the line, the liners, the steel liners, than it is going to be going through the blade itself. And we're going to clean off the pivot. And one thing that I wanted to do while I have it apart is the blade, as you can see, it's really showing its wear. And I think a stone wash would look really good on this. Plus the edge, as you can see, it's even starting to peel back a little bit along the edge of the blade's bevel. The knife has been through a lot. I had a mountain bike rack box come in, and some of it had double wall cardboard, and I needed to get it down in pretty small sized squares in order to be able to get it to fit into my recycling bin. So what I thought would be fun, because I did strop it, but now it's really thick behind the edge, so it's kind of tearing through paper, and you can hear it trying to pry it apart. I thought it'd be kind of fun to stone wash it. I'm going to increase the sharpening tool here because it's a little close and it's already starting to develop a little bit of a smile there. And then I'm going to lay the edge angle back to about 18 degrees per side. That's my sweet spot of where I feel like it's still got good toughness and edge retention, and still making it really slicey. So I'm going to throw it really quickly into the tumbler. We're going to stone wash this, come back and see what that looks like. And then after the video, I'll do the sharpening. I don't think we all need to sit here and watch me set up my KME. We all know how to do that and sharpen it up. So I will be right back. All right, that was a lot of time for me, but a little time for you, but we have it back now. And I didn't run it quite as long. This actually has a really beefy coating on here. So the tumbling is not impacting it as much. So I'm going to leave it right about here. Looks pretty worn. I like the look of that. I went ahead and used Mr. Green. And in case you're wondering, I'm using a Harbor Freight Chicago Electric Rolling Tumbler. Now, I got this recommendation from Jay Dizzle to try this one, and I think the results come out okay. I don't know if maybe I'm using the wrong type of media in the tumbler, but I honestly felt like my setup with the case tumbler, which was like the vibratory, the bowl style, I feel like the results came out better for this type of application. So I'll have to check back with him to see what media he's using. I mean, it is cutting, and you can see it is cutting on there, but they're really kind of fine scrapes on there, where I felt like in the vibratory, it was, you know, it was, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was hitting it better because I think they were laying on there as opposed to kind of rolling around in it. I don't know. I think the results for me came out a little bit better with the case tumbler. So we're going to reinstall everything now. The one thing I will say about this applicator is it is not as controlled as the applicator that I usually use, but that one doesn't fit in this case. And I worry about that one leaking. It's a little bit softer, so I think you can squeeze it a little bit more. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. We want the top side out, but what we're going to do for the oil application is we're going to find a good spot. I'm looking under the camera, so I apologize. I don't even know if it's coming out yet. Yeah, there it is. So it is coming out. Well, it's doing okay today. I mean, that's the first one. What I was going to say is usually it keeps a little air pocket in there, but maybe that was me. Maybe it wasn't the applicator. So I'm going to turn this on its side. I'll try to zoom in for this. And I wish I had something to zoom in for me. Just a little bit on the pivot itself. You see it up there? It's kind of stuck on the tip. That's my only complaint about this one, but you know, it just could be that I'm squeezing quickly and trying to move along like I'm used to with the hops, and maybe I need to be more deliberate with this one. Having a little hard time picking this one up, so we will again try to use what actually fell out of there. There we go. Now it's bubbling up. Okay, so that looks like it's plenty. I'm going to wipe the applicator off and set it aside. And same thing on this one though, you're going to see the opening because you're now on the other side. And instead of putting it on the detent ball, I put a drop. Did I get that? Yeah. Wait, yeah. A little hard to see because it's laying flat, cleaning my applicator off again. So that's my only real complaint about this applicator, but truth be told, I'm not too upset with it because it does go really well into the tool roll burrito. So now what you'll need is to get that out of the way. Let me put the top on this because it keeps falling over and I'm worried about it leaking. So a little hard to see the black on the black background. Is grab your T8 and your hardware. Oops. A little hard to get it back in next to that pocket clip, and go ahead and reinstall all of your hardware, reverse how you put it in, and do not over tighten. Even though it is a T8, I still recommend just going snug because you got 3 bolts holding this together, and you can make the adjustments once you have everything in there to snug it up a little bit more. But really, when you have 3 working together like that, it is not going to really try to come apart on you easily. So let's see here. That feels good. A little bit extra room there. A little bit of extra room there. Let's check the centering. Feels centered. Nice and tight. And fall shut action. So I got oil all over everything. I thought I wiped my fingers off, but apparently I did not. So let me clean this down. And you'll want to work the lube into the pivot. Just flip it a few times. Make sure that nothing's backing out. Oof, that dropped all the way to the fingernail. This thing has gotten so smooth, it's ridiculous. So what I'll need to do now is I'll need to go ahead and get the CAM-E. Go ahead and resharpen this. and get everything. You can see a little bit of the oil there from where I put it for the track. You can see the lockup still looks good. Whew, that is nice. And the centering. So I do really like this knife, but it does, you know, it's not a tall blade, so it's going to get thick pretty quick, and it's got a decently thick stock on there. Oh, you can really see the stone washing, I hope, on the back of the blade there. So that did come out pretty good. I guess it just depends on what it's hitting. It just doesn't look as good to me. I mean, it's a good stone wash, but it doesn't look as good to me, and it could be the coating, right? It could be that it's such a thick coating that it's not coming up well, and it may not have made a difference in the vibratory style versus the tumbler style. But man, this thing is really smooth for the money. And if you like a bigger size knife, this is a great grab. I've really been impressed with this. It was super comfortable to hold, to use for those long periods of time. You know what I should have done? I should have stone washed the pocket glue. Oh well. Perhaps after I sharpen it, I'll throw it in the vibratory as well. But I'm really happy with this one. Like I said, it was super comfortable, great action. Fuller on here works great. Oh, the detent. Let's see. Yeah, it feels just a little bit stronger without being obnoxious. I didn't even realize it, but it you know, that's what I'm saying. It felt pretty good from the factory. It's just, I felt like here, it just needed just a little bit more grab, and I think that little bit of an adjustment, I'm trying to fail it. Yeah, that little bit of adjustment has now kept it from failing. You need so much to overcome it. It just feels a little bit more snappy now. I would have, when I intentionally tried to fail it before, I could. Oh, I hit my finger. But that's pretty much what it was doing before. It wasn't going all the way. Now I have to get enough strength behind it to get it out, so it just feels a little bit more snappy, and it still falls shut. Look at that. Man, that is glassy. Of course, the weight of the blade helps get it home, but that lube's going to keep breaking in. It's going to break in on the track, or it's going to retrack on the blade itself for the detent and for the bearings from where I stone washed it. And really, a stone wash really shouldn't have had any type of impact. The media I'm using is thick enough to where I don't think it would hit in that hole, but even if it did, it's just going to smooth it out. But great knife, super easy maintenance. So I hope this video helped you with your disassembly and maintenance for your Miguron Velona. Thanks, and shout out to everyone out there that regularly watches the videos, likes and comments, and is subscribed. I appreciate all the support. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.